In today's video, we'll be helping out a specific guy, but likely or probably apply to many of you watching. And the person is basically on a weight loss journey, but they feel like they've hit a plateau and their calorie deficit isn't working. And the question should be on screen now, and I'll read it out. I am 5'7" and roughly 198 pounds. And that, to be honest, is mostly fat, but I do weight train. So I'm likely around 25% body fat now, but I was probably like over 35% body fat when I started. I was around 225 pounds, which, ooh, that's quite heavy. I'm 5'7" and I could not imagine being 225 pounds. That's a big boy. Anyways, so I have made progress. It's been around 7 months so far, but I feel like the past couple of weeks, I've seen no movement on the scale. I feel my calories are fairly low. I'm eating under 1800 calories. I train 4 days a week. I do a fair amount of cardio, but I'm still not dropping any more weight. And I really don't want to drop my calories because my appetite has already been an issue due to feeling very hungry at times. What do you think I should do? Do I need to just push through, or is there something else I can try? So first things first, thank you for sending your message. We are going to go through it right now. And if there is anybody else out there that wants like help with specific tips, feel free to DM me and I'll go through it and cover it just like this. But anyways, in regards to this person's question now, do they just keep pushing through, or is there something else to do? So personally, I would say at this point now, I wouldn't just say push through. There are times when you really do need to just be disciplined and stick with it. But because it's been like 7 months of like a consistent calorie deficit, I would personally implement some of the things we're going to mention. One thing I do want to highlight is you have said it's only been a couple weeks. 2 weeks isn't actually that long, especially in regards to your whole 7 months journey. So normally I'd say if it's been 3 weeks and absolutely nothing has improved, so you feel run down, the scales aren't moving, your gym performance is also suffering, and in general your energy is down, then fair enough, we're going to do the tips I'm going to tell you. But if you're someone and only the scale was not moving, I wouldn't just off the rip do the stuff I'm about to mention. Stage 1, that would be implementing a diet break. And if you're hearing the word diet break, that doesn't mean that you quit on your diet completely. No, that's taking your foot way off the gas. That'll probably do more damage than good. The initial diet break I'm going to mention is more like a refeed. It's choosing 1 to 2 days. I normally say have them back to back where you're eating more calories than normal. So I'll probably say between 200 to 400 calories more than you're currently having right now. Have those 2 days back to back. And what I would do is I'd keep the protein the same, keep that high. The fats I would also keep the same, and I would make the calorie difference come from carbohydrates. And with these days of having extra carbs, this should ideally allow you to have more energy within your body. So when you're in the gym, you may find that you're able to push yourself that little bit harder because you don't feel as run down as you previously did. That is if it goes successfully, of course. Because at the end of this week, for example, say if you implemented these days on, say, a Monday and Tuesday, if by like Saturday and Sunday you have felt no improvements, you still feel run down, you don't feel like your gym performance improved, and as a whole you feel the exact same, then we got to move on to stage 2. Stage 2 is actually a proper actual diet week where I'd say 5 to 7 days across the week we will bump up the calories and do the same sort of procedure of what I've mentioned already. However, it's more days of the week. It will vary based on how run down you are, how long it's been, and how long the plateau period is. So if it's been like, I don't know, a month or so and still nothing, then we'd go for the full 7 days. And it will be the same sort of thing. I always say 200 to 400 calories because it's not a massive leap. We don't want you jumping up by like 1,000 plus calories. That's a bit too much. You will start seeing a little bit of weight gain if you jump that much. But 200 to 400 calories is a nice little realm that you can increase. And alongside bumping up the calories these 5 to 7 days, what I would also do if you're really feeling down in the mud, like you really feeling like you really feel like you're in the trenches, like you just feel run to the ground. What I would also implement is a little bit of a deload week as well. And this deload week can consist of reducing the cardio that you're currently doing by say 30 to 50%, and that's each session, dropping it down by that much. And then also implementing a deload week in regards to your training. And this can consist of either both or one or the other, which is lifting less weights, as in like reducing the weights you're lifting. So if you normally lift, I don't know, 100 kg on the bench, we drop it down to 70 kg this week. And we do that across the board on multiple exercises. And then we can also consider adding in more rest days. So say if you normally have only, I don't know, 2 rest days this week, we would do 3 of them instead. So we take away one of your gym days and add an extra rest day in there. And for those of you wondering what does it actually do? The reason why we do this is because if you have really been pushing your body physically and also eating less calories than normal, so you're in a deficit that you're not normally used to, this can really create stress on your body in various ways, from impacting your sleep quality to increasing the ghrelin hormones in your system, which basically makes you more stressful and hungry and peckish, which also can make it harder for you to actually stick to a calorie deficit because you're always thinking about food. And as a whole can really hit many things across the board that makes your fitness journey much harder. And the key thing about obviously any sort of fitness journey in general is making it sustainable so you can actually stick to it. It's going to get to a point that you can really grind and push and push and push. But if it gets to that point when it feels so difficult, many people quit. So that's why sometimes it's good, just like when you're driving, you don't want to slam your foot on the gas and keep it down the full way. There's periods when you take it off. And this is the period where we're basically easing off a little bit before we ramp it back up. And in some cases, you can find that during these diet breaks or refeed weeks, sometimes they will lose weight simply because once they've got more food in their system and they feel more relaxed and at ease, their body just starts to click into place. And in simple terms, they start feeling better about themselves, which boosts their mood, which also reduces their stress. And that really impacts the things I mentioned already, which also can mean that when you're in the gym, you're pushing yourself a little bit more because you have more energy, or in general, day to day, because your mood isn't so down and just lethargic, you will move more. And I'm not just talking about walking around, I'm talking about mannerisms, simple things like this, and just moving more in your house rather than just going home and sitting down on the sofa for hours because you just feel kind of miserable and tired. All these little things, they seem tiny, but when you add them all up, they really make a lot of difference, especially when you factor in if your sleep quality improves a lot, because poor sleep is one of the most vital things that can kill a weight loss progress, because if you have very poor sleep, it makes you more stressed, which impacts everything like I've mentioned. It also can make you feel more peckish. Also, if you're awake longer, chances are you're going to snack more often. But that aside, these deload weeks mixed in with these diet breaks really can improve your whole body in regards to hormones and physically as well. So I would recommend doing this. Now, in regards to the specifics as to what diet changes to make, I will also go over that too. But before I go into that, for those of you out there that are really struggling with your weight loss journey or even building muscle, you just feel like you need that extra guidance, feel free to hit me up down below and we'll get cracking on that. Now, in regards to what food changes would I make during this diet break, I like to keep it very nice and simple because at the end of the day, 200 to 400 calories is not a massive bunch of calories. So the simple things I would simply just go for is, one, keep your protein the same, like keep it basically the same. If you want, you can drop it down by 20 grams, but in general, keep it roughly the same, a high protein diet. Now, fats, I would basically keep that the same during a fat loss journey for the most part. Once I've got most men in between the realms of 40 to 60 grams of fat, I normally keep them in that area. I don't like moving that around much. It's the carbohydrates that we like to manipulate, because without being long-winded, the reason why I'd bump up the carbs is because that should help with your gym performance and you feeling more energy as a whole. Now, in regards to what foods to eat, I'd typically say aim for getting the extra carbs from higher fiber fruits, potatoes, bagels, rice, just, simple things. And something you should have noticed by now as well is in the carbs I've mentioned, they're low fat carbs. And the reason why that is because I mentioned the fats aren't changing. And because they're not changing, you can't then try and sneak in junk food, pizza, and all those high fat items into this refeed week or this deep diet break, because that's not the purpose of it. It's not a cheat day. It's not a cheat week. It's a diet break. So that is something that is important to note. And as I said, 200 to 400 calories is not a lot. So personally, I like to keep it super, super simple to basically take away any guesswork or decision anxiety. I'll just simply tell them, if there's someone that eats potatoes or rice on those days, I'll just tell them to increase the amount to get in the extra 200 to 400 calories. Or if it's someone that doesn't have those, I will typically say for breakfast, just add 1 to 2 bagels to your breakfast meal. And that helps get it early on. I prefer to try and introduce the extra carbs earlier on in the day rather than in the evening, because I feel like you're going to make use of it more because you're moving around the day. But this method is very, very simple to follow. It removes them having to try and think of a whole new meal to have. It just means whatever they currently eat, you just add in a portion to it, and that's it. Very simple, very efficient. Now we're going to move on to what helpful supplements would I personally recommend. And for the most part, some of you should probably already take them. The first one is creatine. If you don't already take creatine, I would recommend taking that. That will help with your energy and your endurance in the gym. Your weight may spike up by maybe 1 to 3 pounds on average. Sometimes it can go as high as 5 if you're a hyper responder. But most people, you'll find that your weight may spike over the course of 2 weeks by 1 to 3 pounds. Do not be alerted thinking you're going backwards and that is fat gain. It's not. It's just the extra weight from the water that is being held in your muscles, because creatine pulls water into your muscles to try and help you with your gym performance, because it basically, in simple terms, it fuels your muscles to work harder and have better endurance. So that is what's going to happen. So don't feel like the scale jump is something to worry about if that happens to you. Next up, I would say a pre-workout. I would use this on those days when you really feel like you're down. If not that, you can just go for normal caffeine, have a coffee before you work out. Don't go to Starbucks and buy the classic, double whips and extra syrups and stuff, because I have a funny saying, which I think I heard on social media, which is, if you go to Starbucks and you always get those fancy coffees, you don't like coffee, you like milkshakes. And that is so true. A lot of people go to Starbucks not because they like a normal coffee. They like the flavorings, which is basically a milkshake with a splash of coffee at the end. So if you truly want to get the benefits of the caffeine, pre-workout or a simple coffee with milk. And then finally is more the optional one, I'd say, which is if you think that you are a fairly stressed individual, because some people naturally just are more tightly wound than others, I would consider trying ashwagandha. You can try it for maybe like a month or so and see how you get on. I'll have links down below that you can try as well for all 3 of these supplements. I'll put them in the description box. But you can try ashwagandha and see if you feel better. This is currently the one that I take, is the ashwagandha KCM66. They say roughly take 1 to 2 of these, 3 days on, 2 days off, or something along those lines. So you can research into the dosing if you feel like this is something you need. For the majority of you, you probably won't need it. But for those of you that feel like you're a stressed person, try it out. And hopefully, Mr. X, I'm not going to use your name, hopefully this helps you out. And anybody else watching, if it felt like it did help you a little bit, please let me know down in the comments. Or if there's anything slightly similar you need help with, let me know. But anyways, people, thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe if you're brand new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.